Hello wrestling fans, in this video we're going to be ranking every single model of Seth Rollins in WWE games. Each model of Rollins will be ranked into one of 5 tiers, those being Seth Freakin Rollins, which means it's great, good, indifferent, bad, and curb stomped, which means it was so awful we had to stomp that model out. Our ranking system will mainly be focused on the head and face of each model, as those are the most important parts, but we'll also take into account other aspects like the body and attire. And just like our previous videos, we will go through each model in the order of the game's release. So let's start with WWE 2K14. I personally think this is a positive start. The face and facial hair looks really good. The textures are a little dried out, but that's the same for all 2K14 models, and it still works. The body type and attire are accurate, and the details of the attire, like the belt buckle and buttons on the pockets, are a nice addition. Overall, I find it very difficult to point out anything negative or overly problematic about this model of Rollins, which is why, to kick things off, I'm going to rank this one as Seth Freakin Rollins. On to WWE 2K15, and once again the face is accurate. In fact, it might be more accurate than 2K14, with a very good face scan of Rollins. The skin tone is accurate too, and the beard looks spot on, and the hair colour is good, but unfortunately other things throw this model off. One of those things is the hair. The hair in general just looks like a piece, and that it's been plonked on. And this is very different to what we saw in 2K14, and the in-game model doesn't have that stringy wet look like Rollins has in real life. I did say that the hair colour looked good, but I was mostly referring to the blonde side. If we look at the darker side, there's no texture or tone to it, it's just pitch black. Rollins' attire does look pretty good, but it doesn't look great. Everything looks a bit plasticky or a bit too shiny. If the hair and the attire had the same standard as the face scan, we'd likely be ranking this one as Seth Freakin Rollins, but as it doesn't, and we have issues with it, I'm going to just put this one in good. WWE 2K16, and the face hasn't changed too much, but I do think there's been some adjustments to the beard, and they're not better. I think the beard has become too bushy, and the colour is too light. It should be more darker, and a bit like what it was in 2K15. Once again, you can't sell me this hair, it is still a problem like in the previous model, but now we have the beard issue to tend with, which is stopping me from putting this in good. Moving on to the body type, it doesn't really have that Seth Rollins look. He should be more shredded, his abs should be more defined, and he should have more muscle definition. The skin tone is also another point in question. He has an olive skin tone. Why does he have that? Yes, he had a fake tan, but it wasn't olive. All these points are rather unfortunate, as I did want to put this one in good, but there's too many things going against it, so I'm going to have to rank this one as indifferent. WWE 2K17, and here we start to see some improvements in the body, fixing some of the issues I mentioned before. For example, he does have better definition, and his skin tone is much better. But, look at that face. It looks like Seth has been out on a bender the night before, or he hasn't slept in months. The darkness under the eyes is just way too much, and if you catch it at the wrong angle, it looks like he's got a black eye. In my opinion, it's the face that really does ruin this model, but the hair's not that good either. Now that we've lost the blonde and we've only got the black, it strips out any detail. Rollins' attire is pretty good, and it does have a good combination of materials, but I can't get away from that face. And those eyes, they make him look like a zombie. So what do we do with a zombie? Well, we curb stomp him out. On to WWE 2K18, and it's safe to say this looks much better than 2K17. Maybe this was because Seth Rollins was the cover star, so plenty of effort went into him. But did enough effort go into him? I think the face has been improved, but something is still off. His face does tend to look a little bit inflated. If you look at his cheeks, they are far too big. They are kind of puffed up, and that's not what he looked like in real life. Also, the head shape itself seems to be a bit too round. These couple of issues tend to detract from any improvements in terms of the face scan, because the shapes are not right. It skews what he looks like. The nose is also off. It isn't Rollins' nose, the sculpture isn't right. So who knows this is? Let me knows. Or no. A surprising positive is the hair. Yes, I said it, I praised the hair. It does look more natural and it is better than previous models. It moves more freely too. So I will say that is a good point. But there isn't enough good points because of the poor structure of the face. So this one goes in indifferent. WWE 2K19, and there's virtually no improvements from 2K18 except for adjusting the eyebrows, which gives Rollins a rather puzzled look. Rollins' cheeks are once again too full, a line I thought I'd never say in a video, but there you go, I've said it. This again creates the puffiness to the face, something which I didn't like before. My problem is with these models is they do look like Seth Rollins, but they don't look like Seth Rollins, if that makes sense. Yes, they're better than what we've seen before, but I do think they could be even better than this if 2K put in the work. So unfortunately, I'm going to rank this one as indifferent. WWE 2K20, and much like most of the models in that game, Seth Rollins looks really odd. Rollins' face hasn't changed that much, I will say that, but where things have been adjusted, it's made him look worse. For example, there doesn't seem to be any sort of blending anymore, so every part sticks out like a sore thumb, like the hair and the beard. Both very much look like they are now plonked on. The detail on the face has been stripped away, however saturation seems to have been turned all the way up, and it doesn't do the model any favours. And for the first time out of ranking all these models, I have to bring some criticism to the attire. If you look at the six pack, those design points all tend to look to be oversized, and so does the vest itself. I just don't like it. The 2K20 model is definitely a step back from 2K19 and 2K18. It does still look like Seth in some aspects, obviously it has his characteristics, but overall the model is poor and so is the attire. So maybe I'm being kind to it. I'm not going to put it in curb stomped, but instead I'm going to rank this one as bad. On to WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and let's quickly put it out there that this is supposed to be a caricature of Seth, and with that in mind, I wouldn't say the face is spot on, but you still get the essence that this is Seth Rollins. I will say that I think the face scan is actually better than some of the main series, and I do like this model, but there are some small things you can pick out. For example, the skin tone is not quite right, and they could have added some chest hair to Rollins, but it still gets the point across that this is Seth Rollins, and the flame attire is pretty nice too, so I'm going to rank this one as good. Lastly, we have WWE 2K22, and of course we don't have much to go by with the game coming out in March, but we're going to rank it nonetheless. When I first saw this model of Rollins, I'll admit I wasn't sold, but the more you look at it, the more I begin to like it. If you look at the face, there has been some vast improvements. I do think there's more detail and the beard looks better. You might say that the hair looks a little bit off, but we don't have a lot to go on, so I will take that with a pinch of salt. The body definition for Seth is also much better, and I would say it's been improved. His body type in general looks just right, and the skin tone is good as well. It's key to note that this version of Seth is based on the Messiah, and not the drip god that we see right now. It might change and this will be updated before the game's release, but we'll rank it as we see it. It's not perfect, but it is good. So there you have it. Out of 9 models of Seth Rollins, we only ranked one as Seth Freakin Rollins. And that being WWE 2K14, and we only had to curb stomp one from 2K17. Did we get it right? If not, make sure you leave us a comment, and also let us know who you'd like us to see ranked next. But for now, make sure you leave us that comment, why not drop a like on this video, and until the next one, thanks for watching.